Welcome back to Elizabeth Jones Variety Hour.
Hello, hello again. This is part two of the. I think this might be the 90th show or the 89th show.
Might
We're
be,
getting close.
yeah, it might be 89th or something like
89th, yeah,
that.
somewhere
Yeah,
there. Yeah.
yeah.
Gosh, we still haven't run out of things to talk about. Which brings me to. I still want to talk about GalaxyCon, but I'll talk. I won't. I'll talk about something different now. I got to meet the guy. Actually, he only announced that he was going to be there a few days before, and it was a guy called Sid KROFFT. Now, Sid
Yes.
and Marty KROFFT, you probably remember. Marty died, I think, 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and they were puppeteers, and they were, I think, from Canada, and
Mm.
they got started with the circus in the 1940s. In fact, he mentioned, and he was there, Sid KROFFT. He said that he went to the circus he went to Richmond performing with the Ringling Brothers Barnum Bailey Circus as a puppeteer in 1946.
Oh.
And this was the first time he was in Richmond. He's been in Richmond a few times since. And he was talking about actually we had a question and answer, and I spoke to him. He's mainly talking about Land of the Lost. You ever
Yes.
seen that show?
Yes.
Land of the Lost. The little girl from Land of the Lost is all grown up now, and she was there. But I wanted to see
I
the
used to
man.
watch the remake of The Land of the Lost.
Oh yeah,
It was
yeah.
made in the early 90s or something
Okay.
like that.
Yeah, he was
Early
probably
90s.
the producer, and he said this was somebody joked this was Jurassic Park before there was a Jurassic Park, and in many cases it's more entertaining. At least they made a movie with Will Ferrell. I remember that was very good. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it was. I mean, it had better special effects than the TV show had. It was pretty rudimentary. It was all like green screen and everything. Oh, look up ahead! There's a dinosaur, and then they
Dinosaur.
put the
Woo!
dinosaur into there. So anyway, they he said that he and his brother created the Banana Splits, which was my favorite show as a kid. I remember when it first came on, I was very excited about this show when it came on, and this was my favorite show. You watch it now, it's weird. And Hanna-Barbera produced it. It was their first live action show, and it was directed by Richard Donner, who became directed all those Lethal Weapon movies, directed
Yeah.
Superman, directed The
Yeah.
Omen, directed a lot of movies, a lot of Mel Gibson movies. We won't hold that against him. But anyway, but Richard Donner directed. Anyway, everyone in that show is gone except for him, and I never met anyone associated with that show, the Banana Split. So I was very happy to see him. He said that it left a bad taste in his mouth. Listen to this. He was hired. Him and his brother were hired to create these costumes and for the Banana Splits and the whole concept of the show, and they paid them in those days pretty good money, $50,000. But then Hanna Barbera made millions of dollars off the Banana Split. So they said, why do we need Hanna Barbera? let's create our own Sid and Marty KROFFT productions. And then every year they created a new show for like 20 years. Usually kids shows. Hired a lot of dwarfs, a lot of little people because they wore a lot of. They found that you can't puppeteer everything, just make costumes, sort of like what you see at the amusement parks, those type of costumes.
Oh, yeah.
And used a lot of dwarfs and used a lot of kids and used a lot of people on stilts. And these shows, the HR Puff and stuff was the first one. Then it went on to like Land of the Lost, Sigmund and the Sea Monsters, Lidsville, the Bugaloos, all these shows.
Yeah.
they, they look like acid trips now. You almost watch him and he said, did I just see that show? And he kind of, for years, they've been declaring, no, we just had to think of something every year to do.
Yeah.
But now he's kind of hinting around that maybe hallucinogens had something to do with it,
Yeah.
creating a kids show. This guy was 95 years old,
Wow.
and most people think they may have known his work but didn't know him. They did late night shows not late night shows, but primetime shows that did the Dottie Marie variety show. This guy worked with all the Bob Hope and Groucho Marx. So this guy is constantly talking. You go on the internet, go to. I even told him when I spoke to him. I did get to speak to him that I remember you and your brother on the Gilbert Gottfried podcast, and he goes, "That was the best podcast we've ever done." He's very open to talking to people, and he liked what I was wearing. I guess he's kind of an extravagant guy. I don't know anything about his personal life. I know, he worked with his brother, so he's very close to his brother. People always assume Sid and Marty Krofft were Jewish. They are Hungarian and Greek, and they're from Canada. And that's not their name. Their name is something Hungarian.
Yeah.
And what else can I tell you about the Sid and Marty Krofft? Sid Krofft. I ran into two friends of ours from the Children's Theater, and they're younger women, much younger than I am. I said, "Do you want to meet a 95-year-old TV legend?" and they met him, and we all got our picture taken with them. So those are the two women in the picture. Yeah. Diana and Nikki. Yeah. So that's who they are. But I'm in there too, and you'll see in the picture. It's been posted, but I haven't made a big fuss about it because I have so many other pictures to put out. Right now, I have the guy from The Juggler, not The Juggler. That's my friend Jonathan. The magician, John Darrenboss. Same name, John. So anyway, so that was. That was very exciting meeting him. It actually thrilled me to meet a guy born in the 1920s again.
Yeah.
Because he was in a wheelchair and he was pushed around. By the way, I did a charity event a few days ago in a wheelchair, and I had to push a friend of mine in a wheelchair in a 5K, and I'm going to be in a 10K later this week. So I thought this was good practice for the for the 10K, and it probably is. I didn't know which was harder, pushing someone in a wheelchair for 5K or running on my own speed for 10K. I've done that before, and wasn't easy. But this was actually, we didn't even make the 5K. We only did twice around the lake, 3 times around the lake. But that's what I've been up to. So I'm still in the picture. A lot of people don't hear so much about me so much anymore, but that's what I've been up to. And next time I do a show here, I'll have even more to talk about. But let's see. Have you been watching anything on TV? Anything you want to talk about?
Well, I've heard it was Billie Holiday's birthday
Billie Holiday.
yesterday.
Billie Holiday.
Yeah.
Big Billie Holiday fan. Everyone is Billie Holiday. Is Billie Holiday? Oh, first I got to tell you something about Billie Holiday. I don't think I have any albums by Billie Holiday.
I got one album by her.
Well, guess what happened?
What?
I go to a thrift store, and this is one of them. I see 4 at a reasonable price, like $1 each. 4 Billie Holiday, Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, and then this one with Oscar Peterson. This one has a pretty good picture.
I would love to have those.
Well, you could borrow them. Make a cassette tape of them.
Did you buy the whole collection of them?
No, they were all separate, but I just stumbled upon, another Billie Holiday, another Billie Holiday. And then you sometimes when you go to thrift stores, you open it up like this, and there's nothing in there.
Yeah, I know.
And you get so upset. I wanted to buy that, but no, this is in my car. The real ones.
It's just like the records.
Yeah, you got it. They always tell you now when you go to a thrift store. Always. Did you check them to make sure they were in there? Yeah. A lot of times sometimes you'll open it and you'll see a CD in there and it's a different one. Yeah. I think I saw a CD of someone really good like Barbara Streisand. I opened it up with Celine Dion's CD. I guess somebody when they were putting them together just if they like Celine Dion they'll like Barbara Streisand or whatever or vice versa. So anyway, Billie Holiday, man. There's been a couple of movies about her. The most famous one I know of is the one with Diana Ross playing her.
Lady Sings the Blues.
Lady Sings the Blues. The one recently.
I used to have the soundtrack of that, but I don't have it anymore.
It's Diana Ross
singing. I would love to get it though.
Yeah, it's Diane Ross singing those songs. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
When I saw that movie, I was too young, so I didn't really know how important she was. I just saw it because Diana Ross was in it.
Yeah,
Richard Pryor was in it too, played Lester Young,
yeah.
and Billy D. Williams was in it. But but what was weird is, as much as I used to listen to Billie Holiday, I only realized I think I have one LP by her that I bought on at a discount place. But now I have four CDs of Billie Holiday all of a sudden, and I haven't even heard the other three. I know they're all good. What's bad about Billie
I
Holiday?
know. It is.
Something about Billie Holiday. She just has this. I don't know. There's that je ne sais quoi.
Yeah,
She's it's not that she's a great singer, but I really like hearing her sing.
yeah, I do
She
too.
is very heart. She's not. She's not. I mean, she's not like Barbara Streisand or Diana Washington. With these big voices, or Katie Lang. I mean, they're great singers and they're great, but Billie Holiday has kind of almost a weak voice, a
Yeah.
sad voice. We were talking about Edith Piaf has sort of this similar voice. Billie Holiday, I gotta tell you, as that one of the songs is on here.
And God bless the child, got his own. That's got his own.
Yeah,
I love that one.
she had a couple of hits that are mainly hers, like God Bless the Child and Strange Fruit, which is a very
I have that one.
she used to end her every live performance with that song. God bless not Strange Fruit. It's all about the lynchings in the South, and it was written by don't believe the credit Lewis Allen. It was actually written by a guy called Mayerpole who wrote two famous songs. That one and what This Is What America Means to Me. But he's most famous for adopting the for adopting the Rosenberg children, boys, after their parents were executed.
Yeah.
And so social justice guy, but he wrote two songs, very important songs in the civil rights movement, and one of them being "Strange Fruit." When she performed it at the end of every show, there was no they didn't allow any bartenders or anything or waitresses. Everything had almost like the national anthem. They had to stop it because it was such a poignant song. If you hear it, you'll never forget it if you don't know the song.
There's a song that I think she sung. She was like, I cry for you.
But it's your turn to cry for me.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, she sings a lot of covers. And on this album, there's a lot of like Cole Porter songs and Gershwin songs and show tunes and stuff. And she sings them all in her style, and they're very good. Sort of like Willie Nelson. If you could just there's certain singers like Willie Nelson or Tony Bennett or Billie Holiday. If you could imagine, name any song, if you could imagine how they would sing it, that's exactly the way they'd sing it.
I remember.
They're not going to change it to the fifth.
I
Yeah.
remember the American Music Awards.
Mm.
A Billie Holiday song. She was like,
Oh yeah.
she sung "God Bless the Child" and "I Cry for You."
And it's your turn. Yeah. Well, there are two songs that are very interesting that she sings. In those days, she sang almost every song, and she didn't live very long. I think she lived to be 59. She got a postage stamp a few years ago. Oh, they gave a postage stamp to Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin at the
Yeah, I
time.
forgot those.
Yeah, at the moment, I said they shouldn't be honoring a drug addict like that. And then I thought, wait a minute, they've honored drug addicts before Billie Holiday got her.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
these are still talented people, so why should they
Yeah,
why
yeah.
shouldn't they be honored? But
Yeah.
Billie Holiday, I heard crazy stories about Billie Holiday. One story I heard of, she was a heroin addict. And I don't think she ever really got off of it. As she only lived to be what? Did I say 59? I think she lived to be 49.
Yeah.
And one story was she was working as a kid in a morgue or something, and to punish her, they locked her in for a couple of hours with all the dead bodies, and she was
Oh,
like only
wow.
like 12 years old or something,
Really?
and that just freaked her out. I mean, that's a weird punishment to, those guys, back in the 1930s, people got away with everything, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, what else can I tell you about Billie Holiday? Okay, there are two songs. One of them's on here, and I've heard the other one before. One of the songs is "Love for Sale."
Oh yeah, love for sale.
Advertising young love for sale. Love them. It's a Cole Porter song, but the way most people say "love for sale," love,
I think
but
they had transferred to the
yeah, they
song
do that song. Yeah, but everyone kind of sings the same way. She kind of sang it like she was a prostitute. Love for sale. You kind of cried when it was over. The way she was singing it. The other one that's similar to that was a song from the Snow White. It's "Someday My Prince Will
Oh
Come,"
yeah.
but the way she was singing it, "Someday
Someday
my
my
prince."
prince will come. Someday my prince will come. La, 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 la.
Yeah, but the way she sang it was, you knew at the end of the song, the prince was never going to come.
I have a copy of it from Miles Davis.
Oh, someday my prince will come.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and but it trouble with jazz people. When I was in Ireland, all the Irish singers sang the same songs. They all sang, what was popular in Ireland over the last 100 years,
Yeah.
150 years. All these songs, and every Irish singer had their own version of these songs: "The Fields of Athenry," "The Town I Love So Well," the
Yeah.
Spanish Lady. I mean, look these up. But jazz people are the same thing. Everyone has a version of "Summertime." Everybody has a version of "Love for Sale." Everyone has now. So which it's up to you. You could. In fact, I saw it once on the internet where you could take a song. There's actually a website. You can take a song and it'll play it. It'll show you the links to all the versions of that particular song, like "Love for Sale." You'll
Yeah.
say, "Oh, here's the." Click on this, you'll hear the Miles Davis version. Click on this, you'll hear the Manhattan Transfer version or the Billie
Yeah.
Holiday version, and you could actually go crazy figuring out which songs are on there. Um, but that's great. Oscar Peterson. I don't know a whole lot about Oscar Peterson. Great pianist. He lived a long time. He performed for a long time. Oscar Peterson was from Canada.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something good about Oscar Peterson. I don't have it with me, but I do have the album. He did an album. He was pretty much no longer a singer anymore. I mean, a popular singer, Fred Astaire in the
Oh
1950s.
yeah.
So he did a jazz album with Fred Astaire of Fred Astaire's hit songs, and he played the piano for all of them in a more jazzy way than the Broadway than the MGM musical
Yeah.
versions or arcade. Fred Astaire had probably introduced more hit songs than anybody ever in
Yeah.
there. So that's that for Billie Holiday. Billie Holiday, I think, once appeared on the. She appeared a few times on TV. She once appeared on the Steve Allen Show, which became the Tonight Show. That's about it. She didn't live that. I don't even think she lived to do stereo. Everything is monaural of hers. If it's stereo, it's a phony stereo,
Yeah.
a simulated stereo.
Yeah.
But that's
Billie
Billie Holiday,
Holiday.
yes,
Happy
from
birthday, Billie
Baltimore,
Holiday.
yes, and uh, it was a lot of fun. I was watching the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary, and the big showstopper at the end was the greatest living singer today, Paul McCartney, performed. I don't know. I guess he's still a good singer. I saw him a few years ago, but tell me, you a big fan of Paul McCartney?
Yes.
Yeah, well, tell me about him.
I saw him at concert back in 2009, which was like 16 years ago.
Yeah.
And I saw him in, I think it was Baltimore or Washington. I'm not sure.
He was in
He,
Baltimore and Washington.
yeah, I think it was kind of in the borderline.
Yeah.
But he said something about Washington or something like that. So I guess it was in D.C. somewhere.
I mean, do you remember the place you saw? I mean, you remember the
At the
name of the
at the FedEx Field.
FedEx? Okay, that's a good point. It was in that's a football stadium. That's where
Yes.
the Washington Commanders. I still
Yeah.
call them the Redskins. Washington Commanders play.
Where was FedEx Field
I've
at?
been to FedEx Field, and it's in Maryland,
Oh yeah.
but the team is called Washington.
Oh yeah.
It's like the Giants, the New York Giants, and the New York Jets play in New Jersey.
It was a really good concert too.
And
So
yeah, oh yeah, I could just imagine. And I saw him too, but I remember where I saw him. I saw him at the basketball arena in Charlottesville, John Paul Jones Arena.
Yeah, he seemed like a very nice to his audience and
Oh
stuff.
yeah, he was great. He was great. He sang all his hits. He sang
Yeah,
all his Wings hits.
yeah,
And I joke
oh
all the
yeah,
time. They when you go to karaoke, they have Wings songs and they have Beatles songs to sing.
yeah.
And I said, why is anyone singing a Wings song when there's so many great Beatles songs to sing? But somebody says, no, come on, Wings had good music, and I said, yeah, they had good music. I mean, if the Beatles never existed, Wings would be this great band.
Yeah.
But I mean, a legendary band. But Wings had. I remember when I was growing up, the Wings had a lot of hits. Band on the
Legendary.
Run
Oh yeah.
and
Jet,
Uncle Jet
Jet.
and but the one everyone seems to still like is Live and Let Die from the James Bond
Yeah,
movie.
that one. Live and let
That was the only
time.
one I remember people really cheering for when I went to. It was like a 3 hour show when I saw him. He was,
And
because he had
all
all
the
these hits.
and all
Yeah.
the sparks come out in the background and stuff like
Yes,
that.
when he,
That's so
was
cool.
da na na, to live and let die, and then all this fire and
That was so
smoke
cool.
comes out. I guess he does that from his piano,
Yeah, I thought
and
that was so
and it
cool.
was like raised. You saw the same show I did.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't dither from those. I remember at Saturday Night Live a few weeks ago, he did Golden Slumbers.
Oh yeah.
He did that carry that weight.
Yeah. Carry that weight.
Yeah.
Carry that weight a long time.
You know what's weird about Paul is that he still cranks out new stuff, and he comes up with an album probably every 2 or 3 years. And if
Yeah.
you listen to it, it's still good music. It's
Uh,
just pales. I mean, not that it pales. It's just people would rather still love this older stuff,
yeah.
even
Yeah.
his Wing stuff. I remember. Yeah, it's really good stuff. He does that. He did an album I think with Elvis Costello, and he did an album with. He tries to do it with other people now as part of duets. Certainly Stevie Wonder, certainly Michael Jackson
Ebony and
today.
Ivory.
Yeah, well, the Michael Jackson song he did.
Girl is mine, mine,
I
mine.
think and then he Say was another one.
Yeah. That one
And
too.
then there was what was weird was he owns a lot of music. He owns a lot of Broadway musicals and college fight songs. I think he owns
Yeah.
On Wisconsin. He owns
Yeah.
all these songs. He bought. That's where he gets a lot of his money. He's a very shrewd businessman, Paul. And uh, but the weird paradox is that all those old Beatles songs he does not own because he couldn't afford them when he was creating them, and then he had a chance to buy them
Mm.
and he was outbid by Michael Jackson. And Michael Jackson himself was a good businessman, and they never spoke again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you won't hear say or or the girl is mine at any of his
Yeah.
concerts. Yeah. But Paul, yeah, Paul. I've seen Paul recently. I mean, I saw him on Saturday Night Live. He looked fine, but I've seen like candid photos at the beach and stuff. He looks like an 80-something-year-old man. I
Oh,
seen Ringo did a show on CBS about a month or so
yeah.
ago, and Ringo looked better than Paul.
Yeah.
But Ringo doesn't have So Far and Fall.
I know Paul McCartney did Saturday Night Live with Adam Sandler years
Yeah,
ago.
he's been on there a few times.
Sweatshirt, sweatshirt, and then they showed Paul McCartney's face.
They had a on Saturday Night Live. I remember they had Paul, and he. I don't think he was hosting it, but he was on the show, and they had an interview with Chris Farley was interviewing him. He goes, I really like the Beatles. He goes, I really like that song. I really like that song, that Eleanor Rigby song. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Oh.
basically he was just talking about songs that he likes. It wasn't
That
much
Chris
of an
Farley
interview.
was so funny.
Yeah, Chris Farley. And then there was another one where they did like a 1960s spoof of a show, and then Paul walks on, and everyone cheers. And he goes, co-starring Paul McCartney of the Beatles. This is long past the Beatles, still known as the Beatles.
Yeah.
If he were on Hollywood Squares, they'd say, They say, and from the Beatles, Paul McCartney. What? Has he done anything since? I've seen a movie. He actually produced a movie called "Give My Regards to Broad Street," but I don't remember it being all that. There's a lot of good music in it.
Yeah.
He, Phil Spector, the guy who went to jail, he's since died for murder. He was a crazy guy. He produced one of the Beatles' last films, "Let It Be"
Oh
album,
yeah.
and there were three songs that Paul actually wrote: "Here, There, Everywhere," and "God Only Knows," and something else. "The Long and Winding Road," and he performed them again in that movie because why are you performing these old Beatles songs? He goes, because I didn't like the way Phil Spector screwed them up. You know, I guess the producer, you would think the singer has a say in those things. I guess the singer has little say if they really have to crank it out. But if I'm sure Paul could make a better version of that than anyone else. You know,
Yeah.
let me have his own songs. You know. Yeah, so I that was great. So what so you have let's recap. There's going to be a quiz on this later. There's going to oh, one last thing. There's a okay, this is what I was. The guy's name was Bill Paxton. I couldn't remember his name. Bill Paxton.
Oh,
It just
okay.
came to me while I was talking about something else. The guy who died with the
Yeah.
he was a very good actor. He was in the hurricane movie,
Yeah.
the tornado movie, Twister, the first one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, very good actor. Anyway, there also there's a picture of me on the internet with a Super Bowl ring, and I'm dressed kind of nice. My hair looks nice. I look like a movie star. Lost a little weight, and so many people have commented how they hadn't seen me because they think I'm a recluse, and people nice very good friends of mine have been calling me worried about me. I've been going through a little trouble with. I'm not going to tell you what. Maybe I'll tell you once everything's settled because things are settled. But I've been in a lot of financial problems. Every day I'm writing a check for like $100 for this or for that or for this or that. It's all car repairs and stuff. But I've been working hard, trying to get. I mean, I'll be fine. It's only money. My health, that's most important. But they saw me thinner. They saw me with a head of hair, nice suit,
Mhm.
and the Super Bowl ring. And so many people have been so nice to me. We know you're going to be fine, So, and I want to thank you for always being there and for doing this show,
You're welcome.
inviting me on your show. You're the only person who's hiring me to do anything. So lately,
Yeah. Yeah.
as a result of you being so nice to me, I'm going to go to your show next week.
Yeah.
Your variety show. I know I've heard you sing on Bushel and Peck before. I just heard it just a few minutes ago, but. I'm gonna hear the orchestra behind you and the dancing girls and the choir and the dancing bear and everything. It's gonna be quite the production, isn't it? So thank you for having me on the show.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, Mary
Well,
Mary Elizabeth.
yeah. Well,
I'm Kaye Lazar. Thank you.
yeah. Well, may God bless you. You take care. Nice having. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you. God bless you.